1,500 centers have been mapped for the exercise across the country. President Julius Maada Bio has urged Sierra Leoneans aged 18 and above to come out and register to vote. The country is set to hold a general election on the 24th of June next year. Angola's biggest opposition party, UNITA, says it has filed a legal challenge against the results of last week's election. The governing MPLA party, which has been in power since 1975, was declared winner of the vote, although with a reduced majority. A senior UNITA official, Faustino Mumbika, told a French news agency that a complaint was filed with the National Electoral Commission on Thursday. UNITA, which achieved its best ever election result, has said the poll was marred by irregularities. Moving on to Senegal, 3 health workers in Senegal have been arrested after a pregnant woman and her baby died allegedly because of a botched cesarean section. A health union official said a gynecologist, an anesthetist, and a nurse were being questioned over potential negligence. Senegalese media say the heavily pregnant woman died after losing a lot of blood. Her baby died as a result of injuries sustained during the operation. The Senegalese Association of Gynecologists and Obstetricians defended the medical team and criticized the arrests as wrongful. The team had taken the appropriate decision for the woman and her baby. Last year, President Macky Sall described Senegal's health system as obsolete and ordered a national review of neonatal services. And over to South Africa, the President Cyril Ramaphosa and the US President Joe Biden will hold talks on the 16th of September on a number of issues, including trade and energy, according to the White House. The leaders, building on their productive call in April and the US-South Africa strategic dialogue in August, will discuss opportunities to deepen their cooperation and trade and investment, infrastructure, climate and energy, as well as health. The statement added that the presidents would also reaffirm their partnerships between their two countries and discuss their work together to address regional and global challenges. Moving on to Argentina, their vice president has narrowly avoided assassination after a gunman's weapon jammed as he aimed at her. Footage shows the moment Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner, surrounded by a mob of supporters, found herself face to face with the loaded weapon. The former president was returning home from court where she faces allegations of corruption. She denies the charges. Police say the gunman, who local media identified as a 35-year-old Brazilian man, has been taken into custody. They are attempting to establish a motive for the attack on the left-leaning populist who was Argentina's president from 2007 to 2015 and its first lady for 4 years before that. President Alberto Fernandez revealed the gun was loaded with 5 bullets but failed to fire when triggered. Video circulating on social media shows the gun emerging from the crowd and Ms. Fernandez de Kirchner ducking to avoid it, covering her ears as she crouches. And over to the United States, an ex-New York City police officer who assaulted law enforcement officials during the 6th January riots has been sentenced to 10 years in prison. Thomas Webster, who is age 56, was convicted in May on multiple charges, including assaulting police and violent and disorderly conduct. More than 850 people have been charged over their involvement in the attack. The sentence handed down yesterday is the longest imposed on anyone over their role in riots. A federal jury in New York previously rejected Webster's argument that he had been acting in self-defense when he swung a metal flagpole at an officer and tackled another to the ground, holding him in chokehold. And moving on to Asia, a military-run court in Myanmar has sentenced Aung San Suu Kyi to a further 3 years in prison on election fraud, her lawyers have revealed to the press. Ms. Suu Kyi, the country's former leader, has now been sentenced to 20 years in prison on 11 counts with several charges remaining. She denies all the accusations and the trials have been condemned by the rights groups as politically motivated. If convicted on all charges, she could face almost 200 years in prison. The new sentence included hard labor. Her lawyers said the 77-year-old Nobel laureate has spent most of her time in detention under house arrest in the capital, Naypyidaw. And in Ukraine, UN nuclear experts have made their first inspection of the Russian-held Zaporizhzhia power plant in Ukraine and are made to maintain a presence there. International Atomic Energy Agency Chief Rafael Grossi said the plant and physical integrity of the plant had been violated several times. The inspectors were accompanied to the plant by Russian soldiers after a risky journey delayed by shelling. Russia and Ukraine accused each other of trying to sabotage the mission. Zaporizhzhia is in southern Ukraine, is Europe's largest nuclear plant. It was occupied by Russia soon after it invaded Ukraine in February. Ukrainian staff who continue to operate the plant say Russian troops have used it as a military base and that workers are in effect held at gunpoint. And finally, supporters of Donald Trump's Make America Great Again MAGA agenda are a threat to democracy, according to President Joe Biden. Top Republican Kevin McCarthy gave his own address saying Mr. Biden had severely wounded America's soul. The dueling speeches come 2 months before midterm elections, which will decide the power balance in Washington. The Democratic president delivered his speech last night from Independence Hall in Philadelphia, where the U.S. Declaration of Independence was signed. He picked up his 2020 campaign theme of restoring the soul of America. He said he was not condemning all 74 million Americans who voted for Mr. Trump 2 years ago. He said not every Republican, not even a majority of Republicans, are MAGA Republicans. Well, that brings us to the end of this afternoon's news in brief. Thank you for watching Channel 44. Pastor Jessica Kayanja is coming on next with the Marriage Now program, an awesome panel that will help us enlighten us on issues pertaining to marriage, especially on mentorship in marriage. I also remind you of the Karamoja Cry. This is a project under the Bucket Project here at the Miracle Center Cathedral, where we are sending relief aid to the people of Karamoja. Our very own are dying of hunger. That is why we have to come up and salvage the situation. We have so far sent over 70,000 metric tons of food to the people of Karamoja, but the need is still great. We are aiming at sending another 100,000 metric tons of food to the northeastern region. Please join us. We are delivering 50 kilograms of food to each household in Karamoja. It's a fortified meal that contains maize flour, millet flour, rice flour, milk, oats, carrots, pumpkin seeds, sugar, and very many other nutrients that will help them revamp their energy and also get back on their feet to be able to sustain themselves for the rest of their lives. It is God's will that we help those in need, especially by feeding the hungry. Otherwise, enjoy the Marriage Now program. God bless you and good afternoon.